You're entitled to be optimistic after that terrific effort last year.
Yeah,
they must be bouncing around the place.
They were great.
Yeah.
So, I've been talking about defensive records and in your likelihood of playing the top 8. Well, they had the third best defence in the competition last year, which was an extraordinary improvement because the year before they had the worst.
Was that was obviously the main focal point, given the rapid improvement?
Yep. Yeah. Well, look, the system didn't change. I think Cameron Ciraldo came in 23, which was a difficult time for the club. And, I explained that to him before he got there. And, he was uncompromising in the way he wanted to approach it. And I think the club is better for that. And nothing much changed. The people changed, which was really good. But in the player market, probably Satili Tupanua is our major buy for 2025. Inari Tuala, very impressive Inari Tuala coming down from Newcastle. Unfortunately, last week broke his foot. He's going to be out for 3 months. Marcelo Montoya, who's a former young Bulldog, who's well performed at the Warriors, but we've brought him in to replace. We lost Josh Adokar and we needed some outside back depth. There's Zion Maeu as a new recruitment just in February. We got him across from the Warriors.
My goodness, he's an imposing individual.
And Tom Amone, who's been the best front rower in England for the last couple of years, and he's played NRL out here, and he's come back as well. So, it's not there are some significant buys there, but we didn't go into the player market a lot. We've lost Josh Adokar, Pawasa Fumasili, Kiriani Katonga, Liam Knight, Joash Papali'i, Chris Patolo, Jordan Semrani, Jarrell Skelton and Zane Tedavant. So a lot of young blokes there and a couple of older blokes that we brought in to help us out. So we're relying mainly on playing the longer game with development of younger players coming through. You saw a few of them through the trials. There's some real hopefuls there, but our main side is a good side. Been very happy with it, happy with the way we've recruited over the last couple of years, happy with the way several players have developed. This time last year, we had the second youngest, we had the youngest and we had the second least experienced team in the NRL. We only had 1,600 NRL games leading into last season. And for a lot of the season, we were the youngest and least experienced team in the competition, but did well. This year, we've gone to over 2,000. So we've picked up a lot of experience, obviously, because a lot of fellas got the games last year and fellas made their debut and came through. And then we've picked up Satili Tupanua too. Who's got a little injury at the moment. He hasn't trained for a few weeks and probably in doubt for round 1. Jacob Kiraz won't play round 1 and Ari Tuala's out for a few months. So already picked up some injury problems leading into the start of the season, but still staying the course on development, taking a longer-term approach to it. Got some really good young kids coming through. One of the factors was we trained a squad of around just under 40 or just over 40 players through the whole pre-season program. And all those young fellas that came up for their first off-season with the NRL handled it really well. Like handled the training and handled the workload and handled the education and everything well. The coach was really impressed, which means the academy's doing its job. Mm-hmm. The academy program's doing its job. We're producing kids and getting them ready for an NRL coach to teach them how to play NRL. Really, really happy with our side, happy with the way they've trained during the off-season. We seem, because there's been so little change to our roster, this is the first time since I've been there that there's been, you come back in for the new season and there's a familiarity. Usually we're introducing 20 new blokes and blokes have gone and blokes have come in and some were ready and some weren't. And some of the kids we promoted, they weren't ready and they were coming into a poor team, which made it difficult for them. But right at the moment, I think we're heading in the right direction. Club's really strong at the moment commercially, and the membership was certainly ignited last year after playing finals football for the first time in 7 years. And I'm hoping they can do it again. If we can have a similar season to what we had last year, be extremely pleased.
Yeah. You had, I think it's well noted, you had a chat with Ben Hunt but didn't pursue that. Was that a vote of confidence in who you got in your playmaking positions?
Yeah, well, those approaches sort of came from Ben's management, looking at options for him because he was living in Sydney at the time and he had young kids starting school and it probably was easier for him to spend more time in Sydney and then go. He was obviously looking to get out of the Dragons, but I think they were I think he spoke to the Roosters. I think they spoke to a few clubs. But where Ben was in his career, at the stage of his career, and where we were, we just decided that we'd stick with what we had. Ben's a really good player, and we really liked him as a bloke. But Toby Sexton's our halfback at the moment, and we're sort of backing Toby to develop. He's still only 24 years of age. He did a terrific job for us last year. Got some young halves, Cassius Tia and Mitch Woods and Joey O'Neill that have been in the system now for a couple of years, and we're hoping that they emerge over the next 2 or 3 seasons. We're not going to rush them. We've got some exciting young outside backs and some young forwards, but the bottom line for us is to keep our best 14 or 15 on the field each week and perform to the best of our ability. And if we can do that, we hope we're competitive. The 2 games last year that gave me a lot of hope. I know we won 14 games or something, and one stage there we won 8 out of 10, but it was 2 losses that showed me we were on the right direction, or really 3. The 2 main losses were Melbourne in Melbourne. We went down and we led Melbourne, a full-strength Melbourne side. We led them to the last couple of minutes early in the season and just got nutted. And there was another game later in the year where we played Penrith at Penrith, and we were beaten 16-10. We were probably never going to win it, but we were never going to get beaten by much. And we matched them physically after the game. And speaking to a few of the Penrith players, I said they were good. They were really physically up for it, and they were good. And that gave us a lot of confidence then to go through on that run towards the back end of the season and get into the finals. Last year got a bit long for us. It sort of petered out a little bit at the back end. We got a few injuries and a couple of suspensions at a bad time.
But gee, you put up a good show in your first finals appearance.
Well, that was that was the other loss I want to talk about. Was the Manly loss, which I feel like we didn't lose. I feel
it was a super game.
It went against us on the scoreboard, and probably with a little more experience, we'd have closed that one out. And it took 2 champion players to beat us. I mean, Cherry Evans and Trebojevic beat us with a couple of big plays at the back end, but you couldn't have been more proud in a losing performance to get to the finals for the first time in 7 years and perform like that. The other thing was the crowds. I mean, we had 45,000 people for the Parramatta game on the King's birthday. We had over 30,000 several times at the back end of the year for home games. We had 50,000 for the semi-final. I mean, our fan base is extraordinary. And if the Bulldogs can get on a run, it's our 90th year. We've started the year off with a great recognition and celebration about our 90th year. And New Jersey, things are looking up commercially off the field. We just need to keep backing it up on the field. We need our good players to be good, and I'm hopeful that they will. I think the likes of Crichton and Kickow and Burton and these fellas have brought a lot to us. Satili Tupouniua's brought a lot to us. Kurt Mann's brought a lot to us. Kurt Mann's a valuable player, very experienced at this stage of his career, and he didn't play the last month of football with us last year, and I think we really missed him. But we showed we could win on the road, and we could win at home, and we could ignite our fan base, and we defended well. And that was the big thing for me was, to concede only 430 points for the season when I think the previous year conceded nearly 800 or 770 or something like that. So that's where, you've got the commitment and the teamwork. And if they can keep that defensive mindset up and find a few more points each week, then we'll be competitive.
Go the Dogs. Bad news is I've tipped you to make the top 4. Sorry about that.
Have you? You're such a good punter too.
Yeah, I'm going good. That's why I've quit.